everybody? Welcome back to Krebsbach Racing. Today we are making an air dam for my tow vehicle. So we're going to try to close up the gap between the back of the truck and the trailer. So we're going to build up a plywood air dam on the top of this toolbox and see if we can get some better miles per gallon. So we're going to head to Menards, spend a couple $1,000s on a few sheets of plywood and see what we can come up with.
Alright, let's get to butchering some wood. First up, we're going to make the panel that goes on top of the toolbox. Fairly easy, just measure the top of the toolbox and cut it out. Little tip for working inside of your car shop: if you don't want to get too much dust anywhere, use a jigsaw instead of a circular saw. It'll create just a little bit less dust. The particles are a little bigger. Circular saw kind of throws up a fine mist of dust and that gets everywhere. Jigsaw will take a little longer, but it'll save you some cleaning time. Now we're cutting out the back piece that goes against the glass. I did decide to angle this so it angles like the cab. It's 3 inches in on the top on each side. Then we get to figuring out the sides. This one took the longest. I had a bunch of measurements written down on my phone. I hooked the trailer up earlier and got a bunch of measurements of the trailer and where it was at and tried to figure out my angles and figure out how far I needed to be away from the trailer in order to be able to turn still. So I just took a whole bunch of measurements and started tracing stuff out and seeing how it would look. Trying to figure out if I need to use this piece or if I can get 2 pieces out of this plywood. I hate wasting wood, so I have one more piece of plywood and I ended up having to use that as well. Have to cut out both sides and the top still. Now we can just trace out our second piece so they're exactly the same. Get that cut out. Now we need to screw these together. Make sure you pre-drill these, otherwise the plywood will crack. This is the bottom piece and the back window piece. And we'll move on to the sides, pre-drill those and screw those in. This is where you can kind of start to see the shape of it. It looks pretty steep when I'm putting this together, that angle that goes up to the trailer, but we'll see how it looks when we test fit it. Measured just a little bit wrong on the edges, had to recut 3/4 of an inch off of each side here. The table got a little bit unbalanced here, just about lost the GoPro. We'll get our last top piece cut out. We go up for a test fit and everything seems to be looking pretty good. It lines up with the truck decent. We put the top piece on, make sure you pre-drill again. I'm just using 2-inch deck screws for all of this. Because of the back window being angled, this top piece is square, so I have to bend out the sides just a little bit. So it's kind of got a little bit of a contour to it, pushing air kind of towards the outside of the trailer and around it. I used 3/4 inch plywood, so this thing is fairly heavy and very awkward to carry. Was able to get it up on top of the truck. If I'm going to make something permanent, it's going to have some kind of hinge system so I can just unfold it on top of the toolbox if this ends up working. But for now, this is the easiest way to do it without drilling holes in my toolbox. I drilled some holes in the back panel against the glass and we're just going to strap it to the toolbox. Go around the bottom and it should stay there just fine. The toolbox is bolted down to the truck, so hopefully it doesn't fly off. Most of the wind is going to hit the top of this board, so I throw an extra 2x4 in there. It just goes down to the bed of the truck, so make sure it doesn't tip over. Alright guys, we got it all hooked up to the trailer. We got this thing strapped down. We got about 5-6 inches between the cab and the wood, and then about 16 inches here between the trailer and the wood. We do need room to maneuver around in case we're turning around in a gas station, something like that. The trailer gets pretty close to the toolbox.
So we should have enough room there. It does look pretty streamlined. Meets up with the cab nice, goes to the side of the trailer, and we're about 6 inches short of the top of the trailer, so it should direct air nice. You can see we're turning pretty decent here, and we still have a little bit of room. The trailer's not going to get much closer if we turn any closer. That's about 3 inches away on top. All right guys, we're going to do the same test as last time. We'll do the 30-mile loop at about 74 miles an hour, start and stop at the same spot. I did a little test. The boards did stay on at about 70 miles per hour, so we should be good to go. Of course, my truck would go into a regen cycle as soon as I start the test, so we'll have to turn around and try it again. All right, we're at our sign and ready to restart. And we're on another regen cycle. You can tell because the coolant has warmed up. The engine's not hot, but it's hotter than normal. It'll usually run about 198, and we're at 210 right now, so it's definitely doing a regen. And our mileage is down about 11 miles per gallon. We should be right around 12, 13. So we're gonna try one more time. One thing that's kind of interesting is the truck is finally done regenning. The exhaust must be so hot underneath the truck that it actually heats up the transmission temperature. That's the one that was 210, and as soon as it was done regenning, that finally went down to 201 now, back to normal. All right, we are back the next day. We didn't have time to do the test yesterday because the truck kept regenning. It kind of took up a bunch of time, so it was killing our mileage. We were down to like 10 miles per gallon. So we can finally have some time. We're going to be driving into the wind on the first route, and then on the way back it's going to be with us. So we'll see what the difference is between mileage. Coming up on our mile marker, so we'll start the trip meter. We made it to the turnaround. We're getting 10.0 miles per gallon. We are going into quite a bit of a wind. It feels probably 8 to 10 miles an hour and a little bit gusty even. So hopefully we can get 14 or 15 on the way back. We'll see how it goes. Now, this is somewhat of a crosswind kind of the whole way. We're kind of going southeast to northwest on this road, and the wind is from the south. So some parts of it are going straight north, and as you can see right here, we're getting about 15 miles per gallon, but as soon as we start turning a little bit towards the west, the mileage gets worse. So hopefully it doesn't skew our results too bad. All right, we're at our mark, and we're at 31.3 miles, 11 miles per gallon total, and 12.3 on the way back. All right, we're ready for part 2 without the air dam. Restart our trip and see how we do this way. All right, we are at the turnaround without the air dam, and it looks like my idea is getting busted. We're at 10.3 miles per gallon right now. One thing I am noticing without the air dam on is it is quieter in the truck. So I don't know if I'm getting a lot of drag and turbulence from the air dam, but it's much quieter now than it was before. All right, we have finished the trip, and looks like this myth is busted. We did 0.5 miles per gallon better without the air dam than with. And definitely quieter on the inside without the air dam on, so I must be creating some kind of turbulence behind the truck, and it's not working out, smoothing the air over the trailer. So we're kind of back to the drawing board. It could be you don't want square edges when you're talking about aero. Aero's kind of finicky. You need rounded edges, much like the trailer up here. You guys can kind of see has rounded edges on it. These are all rounded. Our space here could be a little bit too much. We have probably 6-7 inches between the truck and the air dam. And then we also have about 16 inches in between here. So that could be part of the problem as well. My other guess would be that we're trying to force the air up and over the trailer, and that might not be the best way. We might be creating a bunch of downforce on the truck, adding weight that way. So a better idea might be to direct the air around the trailer to the side, to each side of the trailer, rather than throwing it all up and over the trailer. So that would be my second guess for efficiency. So we definitely tried and failed. I got to talk to a few guys and see if we can maybe improve on the design, or maybe change the design entirely to something else, maybe like a wedge to get the air to go around the sides of the trailer instead of up over the top. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more testing. We'll see if we can get this figured out.